Adding motion graphics like this is one of the biggest ways to level up your videos. It instantly makes everything look polished and professional, like you've hired a full editing team. I'm not a creative, I'm not a designer, so I've never really incorporated motion graphics into my video until now. When I discovered this open source project, I got so excited, so I immediately went to try. I spent the last couple of days setting it up and testing it across multiple video projects, and I'm honestly blown away by the results. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the setup, the infrastructure, and we're going to also do a live demo video together showing you how to add motion graphic onto an existing video. By the end of this, I will also share my prompting tips, lessons learned, so you're not making the same mistakes I did. Let's go. Let's take a look at one of the portrait video that I've created with motion graphics. Did you know you're probably burning tokens faster on Codex than on Claude Code? And the reason is the MCP tags. If you're using Codex, you're likely connecting to your other tools through MCP, like your G Drive, Notion, Gmail, and those connectors inject full tool schema into the context on every single message, even if it's just sitting there. So a big tip for you is to disable all the MCPs that you're not using inside of a project. I was really happy with that results, and that was only the second iteration. What I really like is able to pick up my requirement to the dot, like the on and off toggle that I wanted to add, and I was really happy with it. So in today's video, we're actually going to show the second half of the same video, and we're going to do it live together and add a motion graphic to the video. Now, before we touch anything, I just want to zoom out and show you the workflow that makes all of this possible. Everything you're about to see is powered by an open source project called Hyperframe, and essentially turns HTML code into rendered animation and video. So all the sauce and secret recipe live inside of this open source project. What we're doing is taking that project, giving it to an AI assistant like Claude or Codex as a skill. Once the AI has a skill, it knows how to create motion graphics on demand. So here's what happened behind the scenes. Once you upload a video, the skill first transcribes your video, and in our case, we'll be using 11 Labs API. You can also use Whisperflow or any other text-to-speech software. Once it has the transcript with the timestamps, it maps each animation to a specific moment in the video. So when you say a specific word, the right graphics appears at the right time. Then it will output you the final video, fully synced, fully animated. As you can see, we all have access to the same AI video tools right now. The gap between something that looks professional and something that looks like AI slop isn't the software. It's the prompting framework behind it. And most people will show you the final product, but won't give you the actual system that got them there. That's why I want to share this free toolkit from HubSpot. They partner with PJ Ace. He's a commercial director with over 15 years of experience who's created AI-generated ads with more than 300 million views. And instead of just talking about his process, he actually open sourced the entire thing. 10 copy-paste prompts that walk you from concept to script to shot list to character consistency to final edit. And then there's his character reference builder. If you ever had AI completely change what your character looks like between shots, that prompt alone is worth downloading the whole toolkit. It's completely free. I will drop the link in the description. Big thanks to HubSpot for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the video. I do want to show you the official Hyperframe's website because I think this is a great resource and documentation to understand how the skill files are built, and also just get you excited about all the things we can do with this. So if you go under examples, there are existing templates that have already been made. We have landscape templates. We also have a portrait template. As you can see here, I also give you the exact command. Let's say if you want to apply that specific template that you like to an existing video that you have, you can pass this command to your terminal and it's able to do the render based on that. The other thing I really like is the prompt guide. So in here, there are some vocabulary that you can reference that will help you better prompt your AI. So certain things that describe your emotion, your tone, as well as the type of transition you want. So if you are struggling with putting together a prompt for the best results, I definitely recommend reference here and see what it inspires. And there is a whole catalog of all the type of social overlays, transition that you can reference, and it all comes down to the HTML code that you can directly embed into your code. Now that we see the capabilities of the skill files, let's go into this official GitHub repo project. So this is where all the file reside and all the secret sauce is in here, and all you have to do is give this GitHub repo link to Claude Code or Codex, and it's able to essentially pull everything that's needed from here and spin up your project for you. So all you have to do is copy this link. Essentially, you want to set up a code editor. I'm using VS Studio Code in this case. And just like any project, it's going to need a folder to operate within. So go ahead and create a folder anywhere in your desktop. From here, you can go into your code editor and just click on open. Once that's enabled, you should be able to see it on the right-hand side. All you have to do here is just paste in the GitHub repo and say, I want to set up this project. And because I've already installed everything, I'm not going to pass through this command. But once this is passed through, it will install all the files, the folder needed based on the GitHub project. And you will see the left-hand side, which is your file panel, will populate with the file structure needed. And one of the reasons you want to work from an IDE like VS Code is because you have this multi-panel setup. At the right-hand side, you can chat with your AI assistant, and then you can also see all the files folder on the left-hand side and bring up any MD file or script file directly and pull it up on the same screen. So all this is giving you full visibility as you work through your project. The first thing you want to set up is your design MD file. Once you have everything installed, you should be able to see a default design MD file installed for you. And that is the default MD file that you can go ahead and change with your own color scheme. So you can see here, I have my own color hex code that I set up here. You can change the fonts that you want to use and update anything in here based on your own design philosophy. Now for this project, the only setup you have to do is to paste in your 11lab API into your .env file. This is usually the file that stores all your token secret, your API key. To get your 11labs API key, just search 11labs developer and copy the API key from here, then paste it into your .env file. Hey guys, while editing the video, I realized I never explained which model I was using. I was using Codex in this case because Codex has longer context window. Either Claude Code or Codex, you just search the app inside of the extension tab and then install it. Then you should be able to see these icons. Then you can start chatting with your coding assistant. Because in my case, I'm editing an existing video, I created the separate video project and then dropped the video file inside of that folder. Just want to add this quick clarification here. Now back to the video. So it ran for a couple minutes and I just want to show you its working process and what it has done so far. So it recognized that we have another MCP tax project and it recognized this is a continuation of the same project. So without me asking, it automatically brought over the house style instead of inventing a fresh setup, which is good. But is it completely trustworthy? Let's take a look. So it set up the scaffold and you can see here under MCP tax 2, I have all my files and folder structure created. However, what it failed to do is it failed to transcribe the video. So I can see under transcripts here, there is an error of getting the right setup in place. And that's because for some reason, it didn't recognize we have 11 labs and we don't need to install Whisper. And because it wasn't able to transcribe the video, you can see here under the motion board that I created for MCP tax 2, essentially copying the same motion board we had for our first project, which is completely wrong. And I saw that it kept going and I tried to almost start the rendering. I'll do a quick draft render. So I immediately started the conversation and said, hey, do not render. I'm not done with the motion board. And they admitted to me that there is an error. And so the timing in the motion board is still provisional. So this is the thing that you want to just keep a close eye on. That's also the reason I didn't want to set up in the same project because they can get really messy. I need to let it know that we have 11 lab and it's how we transcribe our first project. So please use that to transcribe the video. And I want to work through the motion board with you together. The current motion board is incorrect, not the same transcript. So everything has to be redo. Okay, now we have the full video transcribed via 11 lab. I can see my motion board look a lot better. I have my full transcript. I also have the attempt made by AI that has these beats by beats animation. I'm going to redo this because I find I just yield the best result when I give a more creative direction. So the next thing I'm going to do, you can either look at this transcript and just whisper flow into your AI, or you can pull up your video and see what you said in the transcript and then just describe what you want in terms of the creative direction. So to give you a concrete example, I want to see lead gen automation title appear on the screen. And the part where I say, if you were to set this up inside of Claude Code, Claude is going to write you script until Claude is only called upon when needed. I want to see a liquid glass card that says Claude Code setup. That was a lot. It's me trying my best to illustrate this in an animated format for a very abstract concept. All I have to do is just send that through and I should update my motion board and we can start working on the rendering. Okay, it's just updated the motion board. You can see here, interpret everything that I said correctly, like the notes lights up in sync with the voiceover. That looks good. You can start rendering. Okay, so it has already created 3 drafts. I created the first draft and self-review frame by frame and noticed some issues, and then I created the next one and then I saw something I didn't like and and it kept creating. So I actually paused the work because I want us to go through this video together, and maybe I will point out exactly what I don't like instead of it going through this iteration loop. Let me give you a concrete example. Let's say we set up a lead gen automation. If you were to set this up inside of Claude Code, Claude is going to write you script to call Appify API, retrieve a list of Google businesses, and extract those contact information. Python then writes that back into Google Sheet. So Claude is only called upon when needed. The key difference here is in the Codex setup, Claude is the orchestrator. So every web page it scrapes, every tool call response require Claude to come in and make decision. So then you're burning through tokens way faster than the Claude Code setup where Python scripts are the orchestrator. Okay, so it's pretty obvious there's some arrow that is pointing at different places. So I'm just going to look at this and point out those things I needed to change. There are a lot of arrows that are not being initiated from the right tile. So make sure the arrows are fixed on the third and the fourth beat. Also, you can see there's a text that says stays lighter and fills faster on the usage meter, and it's blocking the usage meter. Please make sure there's spacing in between. While we wait for the revision, I want to go through some key takeaways that I have summarized based on all the trial and error that I've had with this tool. First is split screen could be a little risky to get it right the first time. Make sure you give very clear instruction in terms of where you want to crop. And self-verification loop, as you saw, it was very helpful for AI to check its own work. Essentially, it takes a screenshot frame by frame and try to catch its own error, anything that's obvious like overlapping text, bad placement. But as we saw that it can keep on going and just keep making new drafts because it's going down the rabbit hole of certain things that I think is error. So make sure you review each draft and maybe put a pause on it if it needs so it doesn't just keep creating. Another one is you want to give broad creative direction first. As you saw, that's what we did. I think it just gives you the best performance instead of letting it go wild. And when it comes to improving your prompting and using more professional motion design lingo, what I find works the best for me is using Perplexity. As you can see, what I did here is I first asked it to research all the professional lingo that designer would use to describe motion graphic or animation. It comes back with a list of vocabulary. After it gives me this list, what I did next is I paste in what I had, so my attempt on creating my own prompt, and I asked it to improve based on all it knows about animation and motion graphics. So it gives me a much better prompt style phrasing for each timestamp. Okay, that took a little longer than expected. It did multiple drafts and there are still issues until we're on version 8 right now, and now it's looking better. Most of the errors have been fixed. You can see the arrows now is pointing correctly. I also have the last animation now looking much better and it's not covering my face. The usage meter, at least it looks like we still have a decent amount of tokens left with Codex. That should do it for today's video. Hopefully that got you excited to start creating your own animated videos. Thank you for sticking to the end. As always, leave me a comment if you have any automations that you like to see, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.